Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Sogcast. Play that intro music. Hello, everybody. Welcome back for the 2023 Seattle Mariners season. I'm Patrick.
I'm Matt.
I'm Garrett.
I'm Nate.
I'm Owen.
And you may notice an extra name in there, like a snowball rolling down the hill or me in the winter months. We just keep getting bigger. We've got Nate joining us. He is now part of the pod. Nate Asplin, good to have you here.
Good to be back here. Semi-foolish time. Filled in a couple episodes last season, but really stoked to dive right into it this year.
Our farm system is dope.
Yeah, we're coming back full season mode this year, picking up Nate on the way, and we are full steam ahead.
Tell us 3 facts about yourself.
It's like an icebreaker.
I would like to talk about my free agent contract first of all.
I'm not getting paid enough.
We didn't negotiate terms, but you're here, so.
I'm taking you all to arbitration. I hope you know.
We got a couple of years till that arbitration comes
Yeah.
up. Bud.
We can talk contract later.
But we are excited. There's a whole bunch of new changes to baseball. Rule changes. We'll start off with those, get the big ones out of the way. Bases are 3 inches bigger. They're doing that to increase stolen bases. They say safety, but honestly, cleating people at the bases wasn't really a big deal unless it was Manny Machado in the playoffs. So it's really, I think it's just to increase offense. They want to see more stolen bases and beat out easier base hits, stuff like that. So I don't really. It seems kind of weird, but I don't really have an issue with it. It's whatever for me.
Ty France caught an ankle buster.
Oh, that is true. He did bust his ankle.
Yeah.
So there we go. Safer already.
I read that it's 4.5 inches less distance between third and first, and I don't know, it's 3 and something inches between home and second. So it's really not a huge difference. I think it really is more for the safety of players sliding, diving into the bag, just to give them just a tiny bit of buffer room and see what happens with the injury numbers at least.
I am curious to see how it affects, if it really does affect base stealing or beating out infield singles at all, because yes, the bases are closer together, but also the ball has less distance to travel now if your foot's on the edge of the bag, say stretching from first base, beating out an infield single. Yeah, you're 3 inches closer from home to first, but the ball is 3 inches closer.
Yeah,
That's actually a good point. I didn't even really think about that. That is true. It gives you a
those-
little bit extra space, leaning on the bag.
Those bang bang plays they are going to go the other way. These plays we saw last year aren't going to be the same plays this year. It is going to be different on those bang bang plays. It's a game of millimeters, honestly, with the slow-mo we have now.
I mean, now you'll be able to get a 3-inch extra lead off. Maybe that'll encourage steals.
True, and then sliding in, it's like a inch and a half
Well, I guess
each
it would
way.
be
or 3 inches each way.
It would be 6,
huh?
so half a foot.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I think that we'll see more steal attempts because of it. We'll see, because teams are going to try to take advantage of every rule change they can. There are going to be teams that are going to steal like crazy just to see what happens.
And I think another thing that is also going to increase stolen bases, which along with our next rule change, and one of the bigger ones in baseball history, probably since they lowered the mound in the 60s or whatever. And that is now the introduction of the pitch clock, which is crazy. 15 seconds in between pitches. The batter has to be ready with 8 seconds left, which it only gives them 7 seconds from the time the pitch catches the mitt to then getting back into the box and making eye contact with the pitcher. It's huge. It's crazy, this rule. It's a big one.
Yeah, there's kind of a lot of nuance that goes on with the pitch clock. So, yeah, with runners on base, they get 20, and without, they get 15. And the batter has to be in the box and, looking at the pitcher, right? So if he's looking down or, adjusting his stance
That's
or his
right.
gloves, it's an infraction. So in the pitcher, right, if he's not ready, it's an automatic ball.
And then it's going to be weird. We're already seeing how much games are shorter. Games are averaging, 30 minutes shorter already in spring training. And, they ran the numbers. They did this in minor leagues all last year. So they already have, like, the template laid out. And now they're bringing it over to the Major League roster. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out over a whole season, though. One issue that I really have, and you're going to see this with pitchers, is they could throw 100 miles per hour right at someone's chin, have them duck out, and that's a scary shit, And now they have 7 seconds with their life just flashed before their eyes, and now they have to be back in the box making eye contact with the pitcher. Any good pitcher or kind of like tough as nails pitcher is going to use that to his advantage. I think we might see an increase in chin music this year. Balls
That's scary
up.
as hell.
It's scary. And, you kind of hope that it's not the case, but I mean, all professional athletes do whatever they can to get any type of advantage or, some that they can. So pitchers are definitely going to try and take advantage of this and use it to rattle hitters, which I think might be an issue going forward.
Yeah, with the pitch clock, I was a little bit concerned, maybe see what Patrick's saying kind of the mind games you can play. With the, throw an up and in chin music, give the guy, 7 seconds to think about his life and step back in. I was concerned that the pitch clock would kind of diminish the mind games of pitchers, maybe stepping off, walking around, collecting themselves before a big pitch. But then I saw Max Scherzer say he actually likes the pitch clock because, he can be ready, and as soon as the hitter's in the box with 7 seconds left, he can, one pitch, throw it right away, right at 7 seconds. And then the next time, hitter's like, okay, I got to get back in the box at 7 seconds. So hitter's in the box at 7 seconds, ready to hit. And then Scherzer ends up taking the rest of the full 7 seconds and throws it right at 0. And you can mess with people's mind that way too and still throw off timing while still, staying within the pitch clock.
I just had a question. Why can someone explain the rationale behind the pitch clock to me? Because it seems counterintuitive because the games are shorter, so they probably make a lot of their revenue off of beer and food, right? So there's less time to order beer and food.
Well, baseball makes most of their money through TV revenue. It's that ads and stuff, which again, also with shortened games, there is less ad revenue. However, the thing is, it's to get more people interested in the game. If you turn on a baseball game and you're not a baseball fan and you're flipping through the channels and you see a pitcher holding the ball for 40 seconds, then the batter calls time, he steps out, adjusts his batting gloves, looks down to the third base coach, step back in, takes a couple practice swings, adjusts his batting gloves again. The person has already changed the channel. Nothing has happened. So it's to grow the game in that people are seeing more action more quickly. And as much as I personally, I'm on the fence about it because one of the beautiful things about baseball is that it's not timed.
It's the only one.
It's the only
sport.
one. But something needed to be done, honestly. Don't get me wrong. I love going to the ballpark and staying there for 3 hours. It's, super fun. But I get where they're coming from, where the average person isn't going to want to watch 10 minutes of 3 balls being thrown. They need to increase action, and so that's what they're going for.
For sure. In between what Nate and Patrick are saying here and Owen's question, it's why, right? Why is to decrease the amount of time played every game. We want that because in baseball, right, on TV, they give them a 3-hour time slot, and it consistently goes over that time slot. So, they sell enough ads for that 3-hour time slot. They're still making all their ad revenue, except for the overflow of baseball games has become, a problem for networks, I think. So that's one reason. 2, like Nate was saying, pitchers can still play game within a game. It's just within a constricted time period now. There's less being cool. There's less taking a breath when you need a breath. You have to play the situation to the pressure that's being applied. It brings everything to a head. It does get boring when you're watching a game and the pitcher steps off 3 or 4 times and just tells the catcher to give him signs. They can't do that anymore. That counts against them. You know, they can only step off 3 times. The batter can only call time once. So it really brings things to a head. And I can't wait for the situations where the time clock really is pushing that moment where before you didn't know when that was coming and you just sat there in weird anticipation and got frustrated every time the batter would step out or the pitcher would step off. It's like, yo, come on. And now it has to happen. You know, it forces something to come to a head and go.
Yeah, all good points. My worry is that the time clock is going to, because you get infractions if you fuck it up. My worry is that those infractions are going to end games like we've seen already. And like that is just the most anticlimactic way to end a baseball game.
It is a huge bummer to see.
It's just, it's just gross to see. And like, I mean, what was it, the Braves and the Cubs?
I'm not sure, but yeah, it did.
It was
end.
like bottom 9, full
Bases loaded.
full count, bases loaded, and the batter fucked up and took longer than his 8 seconds, and he got automatically like rung up.
Yeah, it was a strike and it ended the game. And I don't think we'll see that during the regular season. I feel like these guys are professionals and they will adjust. At least I hope we don't see it in the regular season because, yeah, that's hugely detrimental to the game. And I don't know. I mean, it's interesting to see how it plays out. We're definitely going to see some ebbs and flows of it early on in the season. But frankly, something needed to be done, unfortunately. It was getting so out of hand. And if you watch games from the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s, it was not this slow pace. It has gradually gotten slower. And then like the last, I'd say 5 years, it has gotten out of control.
Yeah, that's a good point there, Patrick. I mean, we're kind of just going back to like old school baseball, which I think is a good thing for the game, get more action going. At first I was against it. I was like, yeah, baseball should be the only, untimed air quotes game. I can see why the baseball purists are, mad about it. Like, don't time baseball. And at first I was kind of in that boat. And then I was thinking back, I was like, wait, at its heart, baseball, like think back when we were kids, when you're playing, you get the ball, you throw the ball, you hit the ball, put balls in play, keep the game going. I think it's actually what baseball is supposed to be, is just keep going.
For sure. Like let's say like college basketball versus NBA. When you watch college basketball or college football versus NBA or NFL, or NBA for sure. The game is slower in the NBA, but when you watch college basketball, they're on it. They're quick. They're with it. And I think that's what the game should be. That's the pure version of the game where there's no room for looking cool and there is room in this game for looking cool and being cool when the time happens. But
bat flips, baby.
Yeah. Like you have to be where you need to be at a certain time. You need to be ready at a certain time. And I think that brings back a little bit of the purity of baseball, even though it sucks that it is reduced to like the addition of a time clock in the game that doesn't have a clock. It does bring back the true essence of the game where you have to be there and ready, and you should be respectful of the people you're playing against, everyone that's watching the game. It shouldn't be boring. This game should be exciting. This game's the only game where you're not kicking a ball in a net or whatever. Like
it's literally the only game where you don't kick balls in nets.
Yeah. Throw a ball into the ring, into the net. Like this
Circle.
This game's special. It sucks that we're adding a clock, but I think it's doing the right thing. And there are going to be some times where it's going to end a game or a tense situation, and there's going to have to be some adjustments in the future. And I'm just curious to see how it plays out. Like the strategy is going to be fun this year to watch the new way the game is played with the time clock and with especially the next thing that we're going to talk about, probably the shift, banning the shift.
Nothing changed.
I think it's made some differences. You're seeing some sing-eye singles and stuff that...
Yeah, but people, you can get around it now. You just pull your left fielder. You pull the left fielder into shallow right, where traditionally, like from last year, the second baseman would be.
Well, they're putting their left fielder closer to center field and putting their center fielder in like shallow right.
Sorry, they're still replicating the shift, just in a
yeah, because there's no outfield shift like hard and fast rules anymore. Like, because let's just kind of break down what the shift ban is. It's that you got to have 2 players on each side of the infield, second base being the middle, and they have to be in the dirt.
Yeah.
They can't be in the grass of the outfield. But there's no rule against, like you're saying, putting your center fielder in shallow right. They did it to Joey Gallo.
Joey Gallo,
Was
yeah.
it today or yesterday?
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah. So there's, you pretty much have a stacked right side of the field. And they're just, banking on the fact that he doesn't pull it to left, which he generally
it's like
doesn't.
the same argument, right? Because it's like when they did a shift last year, they're like bunt to third base. I never saw anybody bunt to third.
Yeah,
Yeah.
That should have happened more.
Crazy.
They should have done that way more.
It should happen more. I want to see it happen
Seriously, they honestly, if teams did that, they wouldn't have even had to ban the shift. You would stop the shift from happening if every time they gave you the entire half of the field, lay the damn bunt down.
Lay it down.
The game polices itself.
Yeah.
Come on. Police it then. If they're not there,
dude, for
take
sure.
the bag.
Yeah, that always drove me crazy.
Same.
When you see someone like Joey Gallo or even like Kyle Seager, unfortunately, they would have a monster shift on him, and I've seen him bunt it down the third base like maybe 2 or 3 times ever. It's like, do it every single time.
Yeah, those big lefty bashers, like, is it that they have too much ego or they don't practice bunting? Like, they just want to bash one, right? But it's like, they're giving you the base. Let the next dude in the lineup perform for you and like move you around the bases like baseball should be.
Yeah, Seager wasn't overly quick though. Who's the dude on the Astros that mashes? Yordan Alvarez. Yeah, like
my boy.
If you shift on that dude, it's like
they also wouldn't shift on him because he can hit.
Yeah, he spreads
everywhere.
it. Yeah, totally spreads it all around. But I mean, yeah, it's true. Okay, so like Joey Gallo, he doesn't want to lay the bunt down. He wants to try and pull it to right and see what happens. It's like, what's going to happen.
He grounds out.
Yeah.
I don't know. What's more embarrassing, grounding out into a shift or trying to bunt and being struck out?
I mean,
or like,
that is a good
Bunting out,
point. Like,
sure.
but seriously, I feel like you're helping your team out more if you at least make the attempt to lay it down. And it's not like Joey Gallo is like a 300 hitter. The dude bats like 200 and he does nothing but strike out and hit home runs. So it's just like, dude, help the team out. Like
dudes that like to swing like that don't want to bunt. Like, they feel like a little bitch bunting.
Yeah, no,
like,
seriously, yeah.
And I think that is part of it. But you do need to have the personnel around you, the team around you, to make you feel like, hey, do the thing that's right for the team here. You know what I mean? And like, even the coaching staff, the whole management has to be like, hey man, we're bunting here. I know you're Joey Gallo, but like, we're bunting here. Anyway, this is old stuff. Like, now we're thinking about leaving left field open, right? Because now they can't do that in the infield like they were. Now they're leaving left field open. So Gallo's going to have to poke one over there regardless. He can't like bunt anymore, right? But they can shift as far as they can. The shortstop can still be playing up the middle. And at what point are they allowed to cross the plane? Is it when the ball's hit or the pitch is thrown? Are we going to see defenses trying to do like a play that moves when the pitch is thrown? You know what I mean?
I mean, we might, honestly. And, we're going to see a whole bunch of adjustments throughout the year with all of these major rule changes. So basically, it's kind of like a wait and see mode to see like how teams adapt and stuff as the year goes on.
I just wanted to point out, Patrick, you said Joey Gallo is like a 200 hitter. His career average is 199. You couldn't have been closer.
Oh, I knew it, dude. Joey Gallo is trash.
More home runs?
He's so bad.
More
Oh
home
my
runs or
God.
more strikeouts? Is it,
seriously,
1-to-1 ratio of home runs to strikeouts?
Yeah, he has like, I don't even know if it's like 1-to-1. He might have like 200 home runs and like 790 strikeouts.
He has 177 home runs and 1,048 strikeouts.
Oh my God.
And he's been in the league 8 years. How does he still have a job? Like, 177 home runs is nice, I guess, but like,
I think he's fallen off. Like, I don't know. Who's the Reds' first? Votto. Like, Votto was the path for a guy like Gallo, but Gallo didn't live up to Votto standards at all. He's kind of been on a trajectory to not be anything special by the end of his career.
He's not even average.
No.
Whereas Votto's like borderline Hall of Fame, you
Mm-hmm.
know? Like we thought Gallo would be another Votto, but it didn't play out that way, in my opinion.
Joey Gallo sucks.
But anyway, those lefty hitters, those purest lefty hitters are really going to benefit from the shift. And we'll see what they do with that outfield shift. And it's going to be fun to have a full left field open, to see how the outfield shifts, and then to see what rules are made about outfield shifts next year, you know?
Yeah,
Like,
for sure. I want to see a lot of dudes hit triples, learn to hit the ball oppo, maybe some inside the park home runs. Let's see Joey Gallo hit an inside the park home run. That's going to be a fun day.
just get one off the hands and poke it into left field down the line into
Yeah,
the corner.
right down the line. Be so good.
Do you think the shift is a good new rule change? And I'm curious. I want to hear you guys' thoughts on the rule change for the shift. I think it needs to be expanded. I don't like the fact that they did this rule, this new you can't shift, and they're still finding ways to shift. That's stupid and counterintuitive.
I do see your point on that.
I
do.
want people. I don't want. You can shade like 10 feet, right or left, front or back, and that's it. None of this bullshit where you're bringing your left fielder.
How are you
in,
going to
like,
measure that on the field? You got to you got to use
Okay,
StatCast.
you know what? You're right. You
You
can't
know?
measure that, but
Like,
you can
but
measure the
I
fact
do
that
get
left field,
the booth.
the left fielder's in left field. Like,
Right.
I have
The
a way-
booth is going to say, like, oh, he's 13 feet too far.
Oh, you got to call that. You
Yeah,
got to call
you
that.
gotta call
Willie.
that, ref.
You got to
Oh,
be in the
13.
general area of your position.
They're just going to draw chalk lines on the field where they have to stay in the circle.
Wait, I mean, why not? We have a pitch clock
But
now.
then, just like the batter's box, the fielders are gonna go spread the chalk out. So they can like, what? See, the chalk is way out.
It's just going to be like the first down marker when you watch a football game. You're going to see it on TV and be like, oh, he's way too far.
Oh, Blues got to call that. That's a penalty.
You can't just see that with your eye. Come on.
Okay,
They're gonna make that a challengeable play next.
The point is, I don't like the fact that they did this new rule. Like, oh yeah, we're trying to increase the offense, just for people to be like, yeah, we can literally just do what we did last year, but in a different way. So, ha ha ha.
I actually like it though, because yes, you can effectively beat the band by, pulling your center fielder, probably your center fielder, and playing him where you would play your second baseman or shortstop last year in like kind of middle right field between the hole there. But when you have to pull the outfielder, that creates new gaps in the outfield now. So that does encourage offense, because if you get the ball in the air, I mean, mathematically now you have 1/3 of a more chance of a ball dropping in for a hit. I mean, yeah, okay, you can still roll over and ground it right into that center fielder in shallow right field. But also, you're like, okay, if I get the ball in the air, I've got a lot better chance of something dropping in.
Isn't that exactly what we're saying, though, with the bunt?
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Like, you'd think it would encourage people to
bunt's
bunt
even
more, and
easier.
it doesn't. It
But
clearly does not.
hitters
so,
on a swing, like you said though, Garrett.
Oh, yeah,
like,
that's true.
It'll
Maybe they'll learn
encourage
to hit oppo
good
before they
hitters
learn to bunt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
learn the
Never.
skill.
Well, and
of
it doesn't
swing.
even have to be oppo, because when you pull an outfielder in to play, shallow right field, normally they're going to be playing the right and left field like gaps between center, splitting right and left. So I mean, even like
I don't know.
a hard hit, even a pop up to right field, that would normally be caught by a right fielder standing in one position. Now that might drop in, or it's at least a running, diving catch, or even a pop out a flare to left
Yeah.
field.
I see what you're saying.
Could drop in.
At least one of the outfielders isn't present. So, like, as they were trying to do last year, put the ball in the air the same way, but they still had an extra defender out there because one of the infielders, the third baseman or second baseman, everyone would shift over. So now there are more gaps in the outfield. There is a, like you said, like a 33% more chance. Like there's more space out there. Those guys have to cover so much more ground to get to a ball in the air.
I just thought of an interesting theory while we were talking about this. Before with the shift, it was still on pop flies like that. It's still outfielders running in, calling off infielders. However, with the new shift with center fielder coming in, center fielder automatically gets priority for balls in the outfield when you call them. However, right field is going to be in his position. Like, I'm wondering if we might see some miscommunications and stuff of balls dropping in between the right and center fielder with the center fielder shifted over, because it is right field's general position, but center field should take priority. I bet that will probably happen at least a couple times throughout the season.
I'd also love to see an outfielder try to like play a ground ball when it hits the lip of the grass. If they're playing that shallow right field, once it hits the lip of the grass, like they probably haven't seen that since they were like, high school.
No,
playing
seriously,
shortstop
yeah.
or
Watching
something.
outfielders trying to throw guys out at first base from short right field is going to be really fun. Yeah, actually, this is going to make a lot of really fun scenarios. Like,
Yeah.
everything's just kind of a wait and see game. And like I mentioned, like I think they will eventually work rules in to ban an outfield shift because teams are being as creative as possible to get an advantage. They're gonna keep limiting those things until the game is everyone plays their damn position. Like, get in your position and stay there until the pitch is thrown. Then do whatever you want.
Make it sound like it's complete anarchy.
Yeah, dude.
I mean, there's
If any position player can play anywhere, then which is where we kind of were last year and the years prior, it's just gotten farther and farther. And the more teams try to make profit or like do better, get better by shifting in different ways, MLB has to kind of keep the game as what it is. They're gonna have to like put circles on the field, like I said, at some point, like way down the road. There
Right.
will be adjustments to these new rules.
And I'm actually surprised at how okay I am with a lot of the rules because I've beefed with a lot of stuff before. The 7-inning doubleheaders really pissed me off. I hated those during the COVID season.
that and the Ghost Runner that's still active. It's bullshit.
Yeah,
dude.
they said it's
so
permanent now.
Oh yeah, that's never going away.
That sucks, dude.
Except for in the playoffs when the shit matters.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with like other sports. Like during the regular season, like hockey, you'll have overtime and then a shootout. And in the
double overtime.
in the playoffs, shootouts don't happen. It's nothing but overtime until someone scores and wins. Same with like football. Football in the playoffs won't end in a tie. I mean, it's another.
I just think why do it in the 10th? Move it to like the 12th or 13th. Like
I
put it in
would
like a
be
double
more-
overtime situation. Like you got extra innings, then you got double overtime.
Give them
Yeah.
at least one clean inning.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, I would love, and I get it. They want to like save pitchers' arms and stuff, but like, I don't know. I also think position players pitching is fun as hell.
So dope.
We talked about this last year, and I'm with you. I think it's fun, and I think it was Matt and Owen who were both like, "I never want to see a position player pitch." That's
no,
bullshit.
I really enjoy it.
That's also a real change this year too. Did you guys see that?
They just only slightly tweaked it. It was something like it has to be within the last like 2 innings of the game, and you have to either be like losing by 10 or winning by 8.
Good, I'm
or
glad.
something like that.
I'm glad. See,
So you're not just like chucking a position. There's like rule stipulations for when you can put a position player out there to pitch.
I think last year it was the same like run count, or maybe they added a run or two this year.
They
But
did add, like,
I don't
one.
think there was an inning limit. Like I swear I remember seeing like position players coming in like the 7th inning, but now it has to be from the 8th inning on. I don't quite remember though.
If they're gonna do that, then why wouldn't they shut the pitch clock off after the 8th inning so we don't get any bullshit? Yep, balk.
in
Game
my
over.
opinion, if they're gonna pitch a position player, just wave the white flag and go home. Like, it's fun to see, of course,
No, I
but
like
like
it.
when you're pitching a position
Bad
player,
take.
you're waving the white flag and making it all a circus, right? And like, I'll watch it for a second, but I'm not there. I'm not here for that.
I don't
not
know.
the
I
product.
saw Luis Torrens. I was at the
Winning
game where he
pitcher.
got a he got a win last year. That was the best day of my life.
Sure, I'd be
I'll tell you that.
stoked too.
You
yeah.
can't tell me after watching baseball your whole life and seeing pitchers throw these like nasty curves, like 100+ fastballs, sinkers, sliders, and then watching a third baseman go up there and throw like a 60-mile fastball.
It's funny.
I love that.
It's so dope.
It's funny. It's a novelty item in baseball,
Yeah.
like a spinny fucking hat.
It doesn't happen very often, though. Like,
That's what I'm saying. No one wears a spinny
propeller
hat,
hat.
but when you do, it's funny. Like, I think it's funny, but I'm never gonna like it.
okay, so
I
like
hate propeller
if
hats.
the Mariners are winning by 10 in the 8th and they throw out they Prelander Barra, whatever his last name is,
He's a pitcher.
versus like Luis
Cool.
Torrens, like where would you click off?
I want to see
mean,
Tom Murphy pitch
it
again.
just-
That was so
all
sick.
I'm saying is it sucks to see a team be beat so bad that they are pitching position players and it becomes a circus. It is funny, but it's not baseball.
Okay, but
anymore.
instead of waving the white flag and calling the game, Make it fun.
Yeah,
better.
no,
I
I
was gonna
get
say,
it.
throw the third
I'm just
baseman
not
out
here
there.
for it. I'm
You
not
know
going to
what?
watch
Double
it.
down.
I'm
Make
watching
it more of a circus where if a position player is pitching, all the hitters have to hit with their opposite hand.
Just ruin the game. Just break the rules.
Just-
break the whole.
Just literally be like, who
Tradition,
gives a
yeah.
shit?
Can
Let's
we
just
make
have
up
fun.
our own rules now?
Oh yeah. Speaking of,
I think Patrick might take Rob Manfred's job after this. He's
Yeah,
got.
there we go.
Hire me
That's
for
a
the
really good
commission.
idea right
for
there.
sure,
Great takes.
we got to start a
He's got
campaign.
500K
Hire
salary,
Patrick.
maybe.
Oh, I was gonna say, did you guys see that game where the umps left in the 9th inning?
That was awesome. I love spring training.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah, we're talking about practice.
Practice. But for any of you guys listening that didn't see, spring training is awesome, and it's just great for all these players to get their work in, and it's all just practices and stuff. But essentially, the Orioles had lost the game. The Orioles were playing the Pirates,
Yeah.
Yep.
You bet your ass they were.
and
Garbage.
it was 4-7 at the top of the 9th, and the Orioles got out. So the game is over. They lost 4-7. They wanted to keep getting work in. The umpires were like, I've reached my quota for the day. They left, and the Pirates played the bottom of the 9th inning, well winning by 3 runs. And the players just called their own game. They called the balls and strikes and outs and stuff. That was really fun.
And they did it because baseball is fun.
Baseball
the
is
Pirates don't
fun.
give a shit, dude.
Yeah.
Also,
I loved it.
I don't know why the umps left, but I wonder if it has something to do with their like union contract, where like if the
100%.
game is over and they keep playing, like they're liable for like injury or like things like that, where it's like, nope, get off the field. Don't.
I'm sure it probably was. It's probably. I mean,
Oh.
there's a lot of money in play. There's a lot of contracts and rules and
Dude.
stuff. Like I'm like 99% certain that was solely the reason. And
Absolutely.
Yeah.
let the players play. Like
The
Why not?
umpires are there until the game is over. And when the game is over and the players decide
They're
to
off the
play,
clock.
that's the players' decision. The umpires are done with their job. The game is over. You know, they've deemed the game complete. You know, and it's just scrimmage games. It's just practice. So they wanted their pitcher to get their work, their inning of work. You know, the hitters wanted to get their swings in, and
That's
that's
super fun.
Yeah, it's scrimmage. It's fun.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Throw it
We
back
didn't-
to Little League baseball, you know, when the umpires don't show up and like a parent has to has to from behind.
I'm behind the mound.
My
Yeah,
grandpa
threw it
did
back
that
to
one time,
Little League
yeah.
baseball when like a parent has to behind the mound, you know, and no catcher's gear. Like
Come
it's just fun, dude.
It's clearly a ball.
I love spring training.
I mean, we play wiffle ball. We call all our own balls and strikes, and
That's
it's
true.
fun. Like we're just out there scrimmaging too, you know, and it's serious. And
Ain't no scrimmage for me. I'm there for keeps.
Hey, man. Hey,
No,
man.
it's do or die out there, but for some reason umpires have never showed up to any of our wiffle ball games. We always end up calling it ourselves.
boring.
We didn't talk about the pickoff rules as far as the pitchers. You know, we did
Yeah, and
bases, pitch clock, shift.
yeah, and we can run through the pickoff rule real quick, and then we should get on to the actual like Mariners. But I mean, it was just there's been a lot of changes this offseason. We would like our listeners to be very well informed.
It has been a while since we've been here.
It is true.
Welcome back, everybody.
We've got a lot of built up conversations that we haven't got to have on the
We're
pod.
all on this ride together, and we'll see what happens with these new rule changes.
But yeah, the pickoff rule, real quick. Essentially, you can only pick over twice, and if you pick over the third time and don't get them out, then it's a balk, and the runner gets to take second. I feel like this rule, it's one of the lesser talked about ones. Like the pitch clock and the shift have been the main focus. I believe that this rule is going to be abused the most. It's going to have the most issues, the most problems, and it's going to have to be tinkered with throughout the season. I see a lot of trouble coming with this rule.
So the pitcher is able to step off 3 times, and the third time
Per
they have to
inning?
get the batter out per batter.
Per batter, okay.
Yeah. So and the batter gets 1 time out. So I've been thinking about this a little bit, and like I said earlier, I think it just helps drive action. We've seen pitchers step off and just give the catcher, give me the signs again, over and over. Like, give me the signs. They do the roll over with their finger, like, step off, give me the signs. They can't do that. Counts against them now. They can't do that anymore. So pitchers are going to have to go up there tired and not be able to step off 3 times and, like, catch their breath. The pressure situation is going to build. They're not going to be able to just, like, take a walk unless they're ahead in the count. This is where I'm thinking, like, if they're 0-2, the pitcher might just take a walk and take a breath and be like, I'll take a ball. I'll take 1-2 count. Instead of throwing a pitch, I'll just take a walk and, like, catch my breath real quick.
I didn't even think about that.
I'm curious
that's interesting.
about when this is going to happen. If you're way ahead of the batter, why not?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, with the pitch clock, all these rules seem kind of strange. Like, you can see how it could get problematic really quickly.
Yeah, I think it's going to be some serious issues.
And what about the little bug that they wear? What if, like, technology gets in the way and, like, you have to,
manually do signs
They
again?
have to use
'Cause
their
now
fingers.
what is it?
Oh, you have to do it in, like, 2 or 3 seconds. If you can't hear,
Yeah.
like, whatever's in your hat, catcher's trying to push buttons, and you're like, I don't know.
This is
Here
gonna happen.
comes a fastball outside. Boom.
Or
And the
it's like
catcher's not ready for it. It's like, that's rough, man.
Or it's too late and it's a ball.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Maybe you just take the
And you're
ball
like,
and
well,
you're like,
shit,
whatever.
We weren't on the same page. I'm not going to throw a fastball when he's expecting slider.
Yeah.
That just happened in a game yesterday. I don't remember who it was. I just saw a clip of it, but I think it was the Guardians, but their pitch comm wasn't working. It malfunctioned. The battery died or something. So the pitcher tried to step off and, like, say, like, hey, catcher, come out. Like, pitch comm isn't working. And the umpire, like, didn't reset the clock or, like, pause the clock. It just kind of kept going. The umpire even came out there and said pitch comm failing is an excuse, and they gave him a ball on the pitch.
That's rough.
So I feel like there has to be, I don't know if it's too late now to make changes.
That's pretty true.
But yeah, but there has to be something, for that. Like, we've seen a lot last year. Pitch comms would fail. They'd have to stop the game, run to the dugout, grab a new pitch comm. Like, there has to be some leniency for that.
For sure.
I think they'll eventually appoint a person that runs the clock, watches the game, and solely runs the clock. So when anything happens that's interesting, they can, like, reset it or add the 5 seconds that needs to be added because things didn't flow properly, right? There was a weirdness that happened. There's something that happened where now we're in a conundrum where let's stop the clock, reset it when we get the technology set. There's going to be changes to all these new rules. They're all new.
Maybe that becomes the home plate umpire's job once robo-umps get involved.
Yeah, we're talking a few years down the road.
They're
That's for
basically
real.
like the director of the game at that point instead of, they don't have to call balls and strikes, or they do, but they get corrected. We don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
but their job is to, like playing chess, hit the button
Yeah.
and then hit the button.
Call the home plate umpire the conductor.
Yep. Now we have a conductor of baseball games. It's wild. It's going to be weird, man.
Hey, man, things are
Let's
changing.
move on to Mariners stuff.
Yeah.
We've really exhausted that point.
I mean, honestly, though, there was a lot to
talk about.
A lot to talk about, and everyone knows Mariners Sogcast listeners are the most informed baseball fans in
Smartest
the world.
people. Yeah.
Definitely. So Mariners, lots of acquisitions. Some people let go. They didn't sign the big multi-year deal to free agents that a lot of people were hoping for. And frankly, I don't really have a problem with it. You see a lot of these off-season guys getting 13-year, $400 million contracts and stuff, and it was crazy across the board. I mean, decade-plus contracts seem to be the norm for those big-name free agents in the offseason. And I'm okay that the Mariners didn't dive in and promise someone, the next 15 years of their life. I mean, they did it for Julio, which is perfect because he's young and he has a chance to be the face of the Mariners for the next 14 years. However, some guy who's 26 years old and now teams are signing him until he's 38, paying him $27 million a year. It's just, I'm okay that the Mariners didn't make the big, air quotes, move this offseason.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely okay with that as well. There's obviously big shiny toys out there on the free agency market almost every year. first of all, the Mariners are not known for making that splashy free agent signing. The times they do, it becomes a downhill. Like, it just always...
Cano.
Robinson Cano.
That's what I'm saying. So the times we do that, it doesn't tend to work out. But what the Mariners have been building is like a young core of players.
Yes.
Even the players who are in their late 20s, 30-ish, like, we still have a young core plus veterans. And I think the way the Mariners have built makes it more valuable than signing that free agent guy and having money available and just signing the guys that are doing well through our farm system, because we've had a great farm system for the last 4 or 5 years. Our guys are now graduating the prospect range. Guys like Kirby, guys like Gilbert, like those are huge additions to our rotation from
And
the
we've
last
got more coming.
4 years. We have more coming. Yeah. We traded Noelvi Marte, our big shortstop prospect, but we had already signed up JP. Our second base is our weakness. We have rocks with a young core now. So, like, the baseball team looks like a competitive baseball team. All the major look at any team that's like borderline playoffs, and they have a team that's like young core plus veterans. And I think we're building that. We're gaining players like AJ Pollock, even our signings for minor league contracts like Tommy La Stella and Cole Calhoun. Those are great depth. Anyway, wrapping up my point, I think we have a young core with a nice plethora of veterans around now. I'm sad we got rid of at least one of the dudes that we got rid of, which we'll talk about in a bit here. But like, our team is a very solid baseball team now. Like, when I look at our roster, I see players that have never wanted to be a Mariner, like players that have never been, like, now we're putting in pieces, you know, we're building our strong core with Julio, even before that with JP, with Tom Murphy, with Mitch Haniger's gone now, but like with these dudes and Kyle Seager, they're like built up to a point where we could let our guys come up and like fill the role. We have a more complete team than I've seen in a long time.
Oh, I agree with that 100%. Our pitching is some of the most dominant in the league, even with Marco Gonzalez still on the roster. We still have a top pitching rotation, which is huge. I mean, pitching is what wins you championships. So the Mariners pitching staff is phenomenal. And even when the Mariners were like pretty bad, they've always found a way to have good middle relievers. Like middle relievers have always been a Mariners strong suit, and for absolutely no reason. Like, it doesn't make any sense, but for some reason, the Mariners middle relievers always tend to be really, really good. And in doing so, a quick one, we traded a good / great reliever,
Swanson.
Eric Swanson, and we traded him for an all-star left fielder, like a middle of the pack reliever guy, and we traded for an all-star with Teoscar Hernandez. It's a hell of a move, and that's the kind of stuff you can do when your middle relievers are stacked and other teams are hurting for them. It was a great move on DePoto's part. It sucks to see Swanson go. Love him, but
Yeah.
a middle reliever versus an all-star left fielder, it's not even a comparison.
We've also found ourselves in the position of having pretty good closers as well as middle relievers. So, I mean, dude, our bullpen is fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, trading from our strengths to get something that is one of our weaknesses is an amazing move. Losing Mitch Haniger and then trading from our strengths, the bullpen, to get someone like Teoscar Hernandez to have an opportunity to sign him up for longer. You know, we're only have him on a 1-year deal right now. Hopefully we try to extend that guy because he's a legit baseball player. He can mash. I've been watching Blue Jays baseball for a few years, and he's been really, really good. I think he'll fit in perfectly here. The Mariners just need to find a way to sign him up for more than 1 year.
And also, I think one thing that's going to help with that is the team chemistry is so much stronger. Like, Teoscar Hernandez and Julio have been posting on Instagram together and stuff of them working out and stuff. Like, before, like when we got Robinson Cano, we didn't have pictures of him hanging out with people or whatever. He was here on a business trip, which, again, is, you know, it's fine. It's whatever. Like, you don't have to be best friends with your teammates, but it certainly helps. And you notice it from playoff and championship teams that the team chemistry is huge. You could have all the stars in the world. If they're not clicking, you're going to run into problems down the line. So the fact that, and now the Mariners have been willing to shell out some more money in the last 2 years. I think with the young core and the type of positive vibes we have around here, Seattle might be a good spot for free agents to sign coming up. And it hasn't been for most of my life. So I'm definitely excited about that.
Yeah, I mean, Seattle has become a little bit more of a good destination for just baseball in general, right? Like, usually it's a bad place to be for players way up in the corner where we travel a lot more. I think the schedule is changing, right? They made it so that...
Oh, yeah, we play everybody now.
Yeah, that's a big thing. Because the Mariners have always been the most traveled team in baseball, just with being so far away and stuff. And now, with everyone playing everyone... The jump for the East Coast teams is like tens of thousands of miles because usually, Boston, New York, they're all just right in there.
You could jog there if you wanted to.
Yeah, you could take the bus. So the fact that now everyone is flying everywhere, I think I can't remember what the most traveled team is now, but it's not the Mariners, which is crazy.
This year it's projected to be the Oakland A's have the most travel by a couple hundred miles on us somehow.
A couple hundred. That's nothing.
Probably or a couple thousand.
It's
that's
always the West Coast teams that have the highest traveled for
Yeah,
sure.
no,
And it
definitely.
just depends, on how many trips they have to take to the East Coast.
Real-
If they have to take one more trip to the East Coast, then they have more hours,
Quick point with us playing everyone. We would have played the Astros, 18, 19 times. And I think now it's down to 13. So that's awesome for us.
Yeah, they cut a couple series against divisional rivals, right? 2 or 3 series against each divisional rival.
It's now everyone plays their division 13 times each, whether it's home or away, but only 13 games against each divisional opponent.
Yeah,
Whereas,
so-
before it was 19, we'd face the Astros 19 times in a year.
That helps a lot. We get to play the Phillies and the Marlins. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, and the Astros don't have to beat up on the A's, the Angels, and the Rangers.
yeah,
so
that's
much.
true.
Yeah.
They don't get a bunch of free wins anymore.
We get to play real baseball teams now.
The way it works out is instead of 5 series, it's 3 series, right? So 20-ish games, 19, 18, 19. That's yeah, it cuts down to 2 series a year against divisional, and that's great. I love to see National
that's
League
all
teams
for it.
more, dude.
All
I think
for
it's awesome. It's way more fair.
I've been seeing the same 4 teams for 30 years. You get your one series against Boston and the Yankees and shit, but it's just, Texas is in town for the 17th time this year. Exciting. Who cares,
Yeah.
So I'm for it. And, hockey and basketball do that as well, where everyone plays everyone. And I think it's great. And it's a great way to grow the game. Because instead of just seeing, again, the same people over and over again, you get to branch out. You get to see stars that you've never seen before. Before the Mariners would play the Cubs once every 10 years when they just when it lined up for interleague play. Now we get to see them every year. That's huge. That's amazing. It's great for the game.
Yeah,
I agree.
super fun.
That's so good for baseball. There's been a lot of times, even when the Mariners were bad before, last year when I tried to go to every game that I could, I would, pick a few games or a few series where a superstar was in town. You always want to go see the Yankees, the Reds. Well, not anymore. The Red Sox, they fucking suck. But
They do.
Paxton's hurt again.
but yeah, now you get to see all the Paxton's
The
hurt.
Iron Man?
No way.
The untouchable
Big
James
dimple.
Paxton is hurt again? Get right out of town.
But yeah, now every fan base gets to see all these stars that they don't usually see. Think about all the people now that are going to get to see Julio Rodriguez play in their hometown that might have never heard of him until maybe the home run derby last year. It's just good for the game. It's good branding for the stars of the game. It's going to get people out to the ballpark. They're going to want to see these people. And I think overall, I like that schedule.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, super exciting. I've seen Mike Trout for like the last 10 years. Like, he's dope. He's always hurt. But now I get to see, like, I've never seen Tatis play. I want to see Freddie Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Bryce Harper, who we've talked about a decent amount on the pod. I've never seen him play. Like, that's just really exciting. Like, it's just really cool. Like, it kind of opens up your eyes. Like, holy shit, there's like a league outside of the Mariners in the West. And we get to see them.
Yeah, and maybe people will want to travel up to Seattle, see our beautiful ballpark for the first time.
Get some Giants fans up here.
We have a good product on the field. If their team's playing here, they're going to want to come see us. We know Toronto always does that. It's shorter for Vancouverites to come on down to Seattle than to go over to Toronto to see their team play. So we always have a field of off blue over here in Seattle when Toronto's in town. But anyway, Seattle has become a better place for players to go. You know, it's become a more it's easier to go to a better ball team, right? Always. And our team has become more and more competitive over these last few years. I think, you know, if we're winning 90-ish games every year, you're going to want to go to this team.
Yeah, no more Edwin Encarnacion. Like, God damn it, I'm on the Mariners.
God, he hated us.
He didn't
so
like
much.
it.
He hated us.
He still gave the parrot a ride. He's a good guy.
Yeah, no beef with him. He was clear. He was like, I'm too good to be
Yeah.
on this crap team.
Who else did we acquire or drop in the offseason?
So this is one that we can talk about. We lost Carlos Santana, and we AJ Pollock. I'm not happy about this move at all. Apparently, AJ Pollock can hit left-handers or whatever. He's had a pretty decent career. He had a down year last year, switching from the National League to the American League. And it's kind of funny how that's still like an issue. Like, it's just one of those.
It'll be less and less.
Yeah, but
the
it's
more
still like
everybody
one of
plays
those things
everybody,
where
yeah.
like some players, like even with the rules being the same, no like universal DH and stuff, some players just adjust switching leagues, which is kind of weird. However, I'm bummed to see Carlos Santana go. I thought that was a huge mistake.
I would separate Carlos Santana and AJ Pollock. They are separate things. Like, it's not like we traded one for the
Yeah, it wasn't
other.
one for one.
No,
So,
yeah.
but so I agree with both things you're saying. But just to agree with the Carlos Santana sentiment, like, he signed with the Padres.
I think it's the Pirates.
Sorry, the Pirates.
The Pirates.
Yeah, one of the worst teams in the league for what? $8 million.
I think it was $8 million.
It's like, yo,
we could have. We could have
can't
offered
sign him up for one more year.
We don't have a little extra cash laying
Hey.
around for that guy?
Like,
Come on.
are you serious? And the depth at first base that would be really nice to have. A switch hitter that's a veteran and an elite hitter. Like,
He has that clutch factor. His average was low, but there's literally a clutch factor that you can't find in a stat book. And something like when he joined the team, 7 of his first 8 home runs when he joined the Mariners around the All-Star break last year, 7 of those 8 home runs were either game-tying or game-winning home runs in the 8th inning or later.
Clutch.
That is a clutch factor that you're not going to find in any stat book. And with the banning of the shift, it makes even less sense. I mean, there's no way we couldn't have offered him $8 million for another year. I think that was one of the biggest ball drops for the Mariners this year. I did not like letting Santana go. I thought that was a terrible move.
We definitely got to give him the McLaughlin treatment.
In the arms of the angel.
yeah, we miss Carlos. We'll always miss Carlos. We had him for 1 year. And
Not
he was-
even half a year.
Yeah, I mean, like, he was a rental for us. And I can't believe we couldn't sign that guy up for another year. It's honestly crazy. Carlos Santana was easily the biggest subtraction from our team. I have a whole list of guys we lost if I can just rip through them real quick. So, like, let's say Jesse Winker.
Okay.
Not a loss
Winker.
there. Yeah.
Not a huge
Well,
loss.
I mean-
well, like, it is a huge loss.
It is.
Is it? He didn't do shit for
He
us.
didn't,
For
but
us,
if we
no.
gave him some time, I think he could have come around.
Also, he just didn't like it here.
Yeah, that's true.
He didn't click with the team. And, you know, I'm not even necessarily saying he's a bad guy or anything. Like, I don't know him. You know, we used to text a little bit, but it's been a while. You know, but no, but it was very clear he didn't fit in with the clubhouse. He made that known by not coming to the Mariners playoff game, like making a stink out of it. And, you know, sometimes places just aren't a good fit for people. Now, It's whatever. I don't care about losing Winker.
I'm going to slight disagree. He took on the entire Angels team, one versus all. Badass. He coined the term electric factory.
I'll give him the electric factory.
He did everything he could. I think he really gave it a solid shot here. And if it just didn't work out, whatever, man. I still root for the guy. When I see Jesse Winker play, I'm going to be happy.
Yeah, I don't blame Jesse Winker for what he did here in Seattle. He was a banger over with the Reds in Cincinnati. He was in the right place at the right time in Cincinnati. He came over here to Seattle. He tried really hard to be an immediate click with this clubhouse.
I think so
with
too.
This fan base. I'll defend Jesse Winker to my deathbed. Like, that dude had spinal surgery over the offseason. He had things that were going on that we were not made aware of, man. Like,
that's true. I think he played injured all last season.
And I will always root for Jesse Winker.
I think
wish
it's just because he's
did.
spineless.
Hey, got him.
I guess I wish he did what he could here in Seattle, and it just didn't work out. You know, like it didn't vibe out, and we traded him. But we got Colton Wong back, right? From the Brewers. We traded him to the Brewers.
Yeah.
So to pick up on another piece here, like Frazier we had for a 1-year deal. Slap hitter, little second baseman Frazier, and he's out. We had him for 1 year like we do Colton Wong now. So is Colton Wong an upgrade or a downgrade from Adam Frazier, do you guys think?
I think it's almost even.
I was going to say it's exactly the same. I fully believe Colton Wong is going to be Adam Frazier 2.0. He's not going to hit well. I think his fielding is going to be slightly less than average. And, I'd love to be wrong and eat my words, but
I hope you are, for real.
I mean, for real, I want to be wrong. I just don't think that I'm going to be. I don't think Colton Wong is the dude, and I feel like maybe that is one position the Mariners could have gone a little bit heavier for in the offseason.
You want Trey Turner, bro.
Also, J.P. Crawford even said himself that he would have no problem switching to second base if they picked up a high-profile shortstop.
That's a more recent quote.
Yeah,
So
that happened
didn't-
like this week.
Yeah.
But yeah, we were speculating on all that. Oh, would JP be willing to,
I thought so.
Why didn't we talk about that, when it was happening?
We kind of did. We don't have
No,
we didn't have
did,
a
but like we
podcast
as in
going.
like the Mariners.
Well, no, JP, now that they haven't signed anyone, he's like, yeah, I'd be okay with switching, but like when his job's on the line, he's like,
Yeah,
nah, actually,
hindsight's
I'm not
20/20.
okay with that.
Little rose-colored glasses situation for sure.
I
see.
do think the dude is a team player, and he would easily move to second base and do what he could to help the team, like his quote said this last week. And I was even saying this to you guys before. I was like, dude, I don't think JP would have an issue. I don't think he has an ego issue moving to second base. He's still going to be an elite infielder, especially with the banning of the shift. You need a more capable second baseman. So another move we did make is extending Dylan Moore. So we do have a second baseman. If
And
Colton
shortstop.
Wong, if
And third
Colton
base.
Wong doesn't pan out, like
Pitcher,
if you need to platoon a little Dylan Moore, Colton Wong, or do whatever you need to do,
Yeah,
like
for
we
sure.
always have that guy here for another few years. So we signed up our utility guy to
Yeah.
kind of bolster our infield depth for the next few years. And I like that move more so than making the flashy Trey Turner with Xander Bogaerts move.
I would have
Like-
liked to have Turner, though, especially with that added speed.
Me too.
That would have
Yeah.
been fun.
Yeah, it's
Very
just
fun.
expensive, man.
True.
Like, they're trying to build at the right pace without going overboard. I mean, Shohei is going to be on the market. Let's see what happens, right? But
Still pushing.
Hey, man, I can be hopeful. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think we have the pocketbooks to do that. We're not going to back up the Brinks truck to
I say back
sign
up the
Shohei.
truck.
I want to, but hey, man, the way the Mariners operate, this just doesn't seem like, even if we didn't sign that free agent this offseason, it doesn't seem like we're going to go for Shohei. It's just too expensive, man.
I say go full WWE, have Big Dumper driving a dump truck full of money, back it up onto the field, and literally dump cash onto the fucking pitcher's mound and announce in big banners, we just signed Shohei Ohtani. Like, literally back up the truck.
That'd all be great and good. But
It's good for baseball.
God, that would make the game so fucking crowded, bro. Even worse than it is now.
That's good. More fans, the better.
I got so used to the Mariners like in the early 2000s, late 2000s, where it was just like 20, like 15,000 people there. Maybe you don't have to wait in line for anything. Bathrooms are always open and clear. And now it's like, damn, if I have to go get food, I'm gonna miss like almost like an inning and a half. I don't like that. But that's the cross to bear, I guess.
Hey man, the more stars, the more fans.
I suppose. Who else we got?
We talked about losing Adam Frazier, and we talked about gaining Colton Wong. We lost Abraham Toro in that trade to the Brewers as well, which I think is pretty much a wash, man.
How are we going to recover?
We don't need to talk about Abraham Toro loss, right? We lost Mitch Haniger.
That one hurts a little bit. A little bit. I mean, fan favorite. People loved him. He seemed to mesh well with us, or the team.
Seemed to. He was like a team leader.
Yeah, but he also he never
like,
really stepped into the leadership role,
true.
and he had issues of sometimes. He even mentioned it himself in one of his interviews near the end of the season, where he was deemed like almost like a little robotic, where he was just a guy, and that's just his personality. There's nothing wrong with it.
Stagnation happens. He's getting old. He's dealing with a brand new young gun ball club.
Yes,
he was our veteran presence though, for sure.
Yeah,
so maybe not leader, but
he's like the extension of the Kyle Seager leadership, where Kyle was the guy, and now Kyle's gone, so Mitch kind of carried the torch for a minute.
But he never stepped into those shoes. Like Kyle was out front, let's do this fucking shit.
That's what I'm saying. And Mitch was the in between the old guard and the new up and coming thing. Mm-hmm. So now that he's out of the picture, we've got a whole nother we don't have to worry about the awkward Mitch Haniger leadership part of the thing, right?
For sure.
And it sucks to have him gone, but again, another thing, the dude couldn't stay healthy. It was a huge issue. It's
a bummer.
He's a top ball player when he's healthy. The problem is that he's just never healthy.
I love me some Mitch Haniger, but yeah,
Is he from the Bay Area? Did he sign to his childhood team, the Giants?
I'm not sure where he's from.
He's from Southern California, I think. Yeah, but he went to Cal Poly. I think so. That's right around Bay Area. Yeah, kind of home team.
Well,
and honestly, he's one of the persons I'm wishing the best for.
Oh, for sure.
I want him to stay healthy. I hope he hits 30 home runs and has a great year for the Giants.
How do you hope he does against the Mariners?
I mean, it would be cool. I mean, as always, it would be fun to see him hit a bomb and then the Giants lose.
There you go.
Bro, best of both worlds.
Yeah, so he performs well and the Giants lose when they play the Mariners.
All right, yeah, Mitch Haniger's gone. Good for the Giants. Hopefully he can stay healthy. We love Mitch Haniger. I'm just going to rip down the list of the other names I have here. We kind of mentioned most of them. So, yeah, I mean, Mitch Haniger, Jesse Winker, Adam Frazier, Toro, Eric Swanson. Kyle Lewis is the one we haven't hit on.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was such we traded him for peanuts, and that's what he deserved. Kyle Lewis was a head case. Unfortunately, he didn't mesh well with the team. He started having big ego issues, getting sent down to Tacoma, and it completely derailed his career with the Mariners. And I don't know. It just I kind of have not necessarily bad blood for Kyle Lewis, but it's just whatever, dude. You had your chance. He could have been the star here, and he chose to let his ego and stuff get to his head, and he started to refuse to play. When he would go down to Tacoma and single-handedly sat himself out of the lineup for over a month. He was medically cleared to play, and he just chose not to because he felt like he shouldn't be in Tacoma. And people want to say, oh, he was Rookie of the Year. But again, Rookie of the Year in the COVID-shortened season, so take all of that with 2 grains of salt because it was a messed up year. Yeah, I mean, it's a little harsh, but I say good riddance to Kyle Lewis. Wish you the best, whatever, but I don't really care.
Yeah, I'm glad he's gone. Rookie of the Year, cool, great job. He fractured his kneecap or broke his knee in the minors, which is a pretty serious issue.
It was a torn ACL, it was sliding into home for Everett in AA.
Pretty serious issue for the legs, for sure. And then when him and Kellenick got sent back down, that final time, I think, the second or third time, Kellenick, to his credit, showed up right away.
Yep.
And Lewis took like 4 or 5 days to get there, which is like, I mean, the drive to Cheney is not that far.
Even with the traffic,
You know?
I don't think it takes 4 days to get to Tacoma.
I think Lewis made his feelings known about the club, and we weren't really hype on him anymore, and we have the heir apparent in Julio, so I think it's the separation.
Yep.
Yeah. Kyle Lewis is just subtracting a maybe from our team. We don't need any more maybes. Kyle Lewis was in a pool of Kelnick, Trammell, Lewis, and he didn't like that he had competition for what he thought was his high-profile Rookie of the Year status. I like that he's gone. We don't need any more maybes here. We need sure things, and that's why we're bringing in more veteran presence. We're getting rid of those maybes. We don't need these maybes. Anyone who's a clubhouse nuisance, anyone who has anything going on other than baseball, we don't need. We need baseball. That's it. None of this ego stuff. None of this nah, I'm not playing because I'm that guy, and you guys aren't playing me as that guy. It's no, we don't. No, none of that needs to play. So, but we did get Cooper Hummel in return. He's a guy who's an outfielder catcher. He's a switch hitter. I say hitter by trade. He's mostly a hitter. He can play outfield and catcher. So he could be a piece that could make a difference on our bench, pinch hitting late in the year and being an option at catcher as our third catcher. You know what I mean? With a bigger bat.
I didn't know anything about him before spring training, but watching him play, I'm really curious to see where he goes if he makes the 26 man roster. I mean, we'll see. That'd be really interesting to have a piece like that around. Yeah.
He'll be right in that 3-4A gap there where if we
For
need
sure.
him, he'll be there.
Yep.
Also, 2 more additions kind of that the Mariners had this year is Tom Murphy and Casey Sadler. They both missed. Casey Sadler missed all of last year. He didn't pitch at all last season. He blew his arm out in spring training.
Can I add one more name to that list?
Yeah, go for it.
Evan White.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 3 returning missed last season's guys.
Yeah, Tom Murphy, he blew his shoulder out second week of the season. It was so early into the season, and missed the whole year, which ended up giving Big Dumper a bunch of playing time, which ended up working out. But with that, we also had to see a lot more of Luis Torrens, which we hope to never see on the pod.
We saw a little Kurt Casale.
Casale, yeah.
Forgot about Casale.
That's fine. Continue to forget about Casale.
Yeah.
I will say Cooper Hummel in this spot seems to bolster our third catcher depth a lot more than Torrens does.
Yeah, and you never know when someone's going to get injured. It's nice to have a third at every position, honestly. But the outfield depth is deep.
Infield,
Trammell got hurt.
Trammell did get hurt.
Trammell is hurt.
Hamate bone.
But nothing crazy. He'll be back.
Yeah, he's going to miss probably, the first month and a half of the season.
Yeah.
So it sucks, but, I mean, he should be back, pretty early on into the season. It's a long season. So we're happy that, Trammell's injury isn't too serious. Evan White also won a Gold Glove in the COVID-shortened season, and he was the first rookie to win a Gold Glove at first base, which is exciting. But again, COVID season, Mickey Mouse stuff, But he seems to be doing okay in spring. He seems to be seeing the ball well and hitting well. And, he probably... I would be honestly shocked if he made the opening day roster.
Yeah.
But I think he's proving that he has a chance to come up this year. Which
A lot of spring training left. I mean, we'll see what happens.
Yep. And Tom Murphy is back from his injury. Just the other day, he went 3 for 3 with a home run.
Oh, man.
So he's seeing the ball well, hitting well in spring. And then Casey Sadler is back from his arm injury. And he actually, when he injured his arm, he was on an insane, it was 17 straight appearances without allowing a run or something like that. He was absolutely dominant, and his streak is technically still active because he didn't pitch at all last year. So now he's back, he's healthy, and that totally makes up for losing Eric Swanson. We literally just have another dominant reliever filling that slot, which is huge.
For sure. I definitely think that losing Swanson and gaining Sadler is like that's one of the reasons we could have an expendable arm. We already have the plethora of right-handers, might as well push one if we're taking one back in.
Yeah, exactly. Patrick always says bullpen arms are a dime a dozen. And these days, that proves to be very true with how good the Mariners bullpen is.
Oh, yeah. Even though it's all right-handed, like, it would be
Right.
nice to mix in a lefty. And we do
For
have
sure.
a few of those, like, in our full team, but it's going to be dominant righties again for the Mariners. And it's okay. Some
Right.
right-handers are really good against lefties. It depends on their pitch mix.
To lose Swanson, gain Sadler, and Teoscar,
It's huge.
like, that's essentially what happened.
Yeah.
And that's awesome.
So I'm going to talk about all the guys we gained, because we've already talked about all of them. Teoscar Hernandez, Colton Wong, A.J. Pollock, Cooper Hummel, Evan White, Tom Murphy, and then I think there's another class of guys that we can add where I say Cole Calhoun, Tommy LaStella, Colin Moran, where these dudes have had MLB experience, but they're kind of our second line of defense, where our AAA team is going to be stacked with MLB veterans and young prospects, where we have a bigger pool to pull from. We have a lot of flexibility with who's on our 40-man and who's in AAA, especially Tacoma being so close to Seattle. Every time they come home, they can swap players.
I will say LaStella is out right now. I don't know how serious it is. I said it earlier. I don't know if I'm going to keep it in, but I said it was possibly career-ending. It doesn't seem
could be
that bad, but it looks up in the air. Nate, you read the thing I read. What do you think about the?
Yeah, I mean the reports they were a little bit, grayish.
Yeah.
Not black and white on
For sure.
How bad it is.
Was he soggy? Did he get
He's-
soggy in spring training?
He's got soggy shoulder, I guess.
Yeah, that's essentially what the report said, is that he has a soggy shoulder. So who knows how long he's going to be out for. The other thing is Cole Calhoun, who you've talked the most shit about, Matt.
You hate
Yo,
Cole
was-
Calhoun.
yo, was
God
Calhoun
damn.
on the?
Like, I hate Cole Calhoun.
He's
and
an
I,
angel.
I don't know why, but
I know he's an angel. Was he? Did he start last year? I don't.
he was
what-
an angel. He was possibly a ranger.
he
for
killed
a
us
year.
Dude,
when-
I feel like he's just been on every team in the West except the Astros.
I felt like he was
could?
my Angels for like 30 fucking years. Like I just don't know when he was
Count him
last.
30.
he was a Mariners killer on the Rangers and the Angels for pretty much all of our lifetime.
He would
That's
hit
the
like
reason I hate him.
217 on the season and then bat 600 against the Mariners.
Yeah, hating a guy for that reason, I think it's fair. But now he's on the Mariners. So what do you think, Matt?
I think he's our second line of defense, and it's nice to have more veterans on our team.
Pretty
I
good
will
pickup. I'm
support-
glad we signed him.
I will support Cole Calhoun because of the situation the
Yeah,
Mariners are
for
in.
sure. That's
and I
fair.
hated him because he was a Mariner killer. So, now that he's a Mariner, I can get behind having him as a defensive or even offensive platoon in the future when we need him, if any injuries happen.
So it's not
Like-
a just take him off the market situation. You appreciate him.
He's going to be starting in AAA.
There you
dude.
go.
So, yeah, of course I'd appreciate that.
I will say, if he gets regular reps on the Mariners at any point, it's because something's gone disastrously wrong,
Yes.
be it injury or performance-wise. So
It was like
I hope to never see him or like Colin Moran or, no
Yep.
shade to these guys or even Tommy LaStella. Like, I don't really hope to ever have to see them in our lineup because
means a
something's
major
gone wrong.
A major part got hurt if that happens.
and that's 100%. That was like last year when the Mariners had, what was it, like 2 weeks of oh my god, what was his name?
Souza?
No, oh god, that was bad too.
Oh yeah.
No, the left fielder, we got him from the Astros. The Astros were the ones that hit him in the head. I'm totally blanking on his name right now. That shows how important he was to the Mariners. But he had like 2 weeks with us before he retired because he just didn't have it anymore. It wasn't Cameron Maben. It was, I don't know. Whatever. Doesn't matter. Another thing that is interesting about the offseason is that the Mariners made it clear that they were shopping around both Marco Gonzalez and Chris Flexen. Mariners made it very clear they were looking to trade them and what kind of offers they could get. and they're both still here, which means no one bit, or someone was biting and just wasn't offering enough the Mariners were looking for. And I think that's a little telling. However, I will still say that Chris Flexen might be one of the best kept secrets in baseball.
For sure. Now, what do you think it's telling of, though?
Just that, I mean, teams didn't want him or were willing to give up enough to get him. And, like, who would really, I mean, realistically, who's, like, dying to get Marco Gonzalez on their roster?
No, not Marco.
saying?
I'm talking about Chris Flexen, because I really do think Chris Flexen is still a piece that could go.
100%.
Especially if he performs really well in spring training. Like, look at our shiny new toy. We still have him. You sure you don't want to trade? I think we're going to see Chris Flexen go. Hope I'm wrong, because I like Chris Flexen.
I love Chris Flexen.
And also, Jerry and, the whole Mariners organization has said that Marco is going to be our starting fifth guy. And I hope so badly that Flexen shows off some serious shit in spring training to where they're like, you know what? It's honestly a better move to take Flexen out of the pen and have him as the fifth starter.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, no shit. It's easy.
So,
and I don't know why they're not doing it or not considering it more.
To touch on that fifth starter part, like, it's hard to have two guys stretched out to make starts, but it is possible. To me, like, when I write in our fifth starter, it's Flexen / Gonzalez. And Gonzalez
in that
is
order.
a nice, I mean,
I'm sorry,
to me.
go ahead.
But think about, they're a lefty-righty. It's almost like a platoon starter spot where, like, if the team we're facing as a left-handed hitters, they're going to pitch Marco because he's left-handed, and lefty-lefty matters, right? If we're facing a team like, say, the Blue Jays last year, we'll start Flexen because they're a right-handed team and we want a right-handed pitcher in there. So I do think they will have that 5 spot kind of floating, but it's mostly Marco because we need a second left-handed arm in our rotation, especially because we don't have any in our pen. To touch on selling those guys, like, we're putting them out there on the trade market early. Like, I wouldn't say because they didn't get traded, they won't get traded. I'm thinking, like, they're letting the world know, like, these guys are out here. And the Mariners, if you think about what they've done in the last couple of years, they're really a second half team where, like, they make moves like getting Santana and Castillo at the deadline last year. Like,
Yep.
they're making moves to push at the end of the season. They're not looking to make the moves at the beginning of the season necessarily. It seems like the Mariners are a second half team, in my opinion. So
They do always start out slow.
yeah. So if we're shopping around Flexen and Marco early, everyone has a lot of time to figure out where they shake out in the standings before they're willing to make the trade for Marco or Flexen to get, say, a prospect package or a star player. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's just a thing where the Mariners are playing their hand slowly. It's not that they want to trade them right away. It's just that we have time. We're going to see how we shake out. Everyone's going to see how they shake out. And trades might be better in the future. Even ones they've talked about in the offseason might become more available depending on what other teams are like in their division and if they have a playoff spot or not.
And there's also injuries to take into account. We've seen injuries already happen in spring training. I don't want to jump the gun here and blow our load too early. We got a lot to talk about. But, we might see Flexen go before, regular season starts. I think we see Flexen go before the All-Star game at least.
I would agree, saying he's a very valuable piece and very underrated piece in the
So
market.
underrated.
Such a crime to, like, get rid of Flexen before Marco.
I agree.
Agree.
But everyone wants Flexen more than Marco if they know anything. You know what I mean? And every single baseball team scouting front office, everyone knows that.
I don't see a situation where Marco goes before Flexen. There's no chance.
It's the only reason is because someone needs a lefty. You know what I mean? The only reason he's in our rotation is because we need a lefty. Otherwise,
he's
we
been
would
here
use
forever.
Flexen.
Okay, he's a lefty. He's still fucking garbage. Like,
Yeah, no, I'm saying that, like,
You're right,
lefty and righty
strategically, yes,
matchups
yes.
happen, and since we don't have any lefties in our pen, we kind of need a second lefty in our rotation to add to Robbie Ray to kind of have somebody to manage left-handed batters.
I also think
even though he's not great.
We don't see Marco pitch out of the pen. Ever.
It's not going to happen.
Ever.
No,
It's not going to happen. He doesn't have the skill set for it.
Yeah.
So
Just trade him to the Pirates.
for Carlos Santana,
Yes.
The Orioles. Yeah. Oh man, what a trade!
My favorite
That's a
thing
fleece.
to think
Dipoto,
about.
get on it.
Yeah,
I just
dude.
also
Get
wanted
'em.
to jump in real quick. The player that I couldn't think of, Justin Upton.
Yeah.
Justin
yeah.
Upton. That was
I remember Justin Upton.
Yeah, I was saying, like, if Cole Calhoun is playing, it's like a Justin Upton situation last year
I
where we
got
were
you.
so hurt and we just needed a warm body. But yeah,
I found my question. Would you guys foresee any games where Marco and Flexen just pitch in the same game? Marco starts and Flexen piggybacks, and they both go 3 innings. You know what I mean?
I mean, it could happen. I don't see why it couldn't. I just hope that's not the case.
I just think that's the most ideal thing that we can do if Marco is making starts in our rotation, to let him just like have an opener and let Flexen have extended relief.
But Marco
that's
is
the only thing.
notoriously shitty at opening. He falls apart
gets
the worst
better
in the
as he-
first
yeah.
season. Or
That's
the
what I'm
first
saying.
inning.
At least we have a backup extended relief. Flexen, like piggyback him. I like that.
Yeah, like to Patrick's point, like Marco, like looking back, I can't remember, maybe like 5 starts where he didn't give up like 2 or 3 runs in the first 3 innings. Like, can we reverse that and start Flexing and then we have like disagreements about Marco in the pen, but like if we're just gonna DFA you or you're gonna be in the pen, like that's what you got to do.
I think
You know,
absolutely we can reverse those rules.
Nate, what do you think about the Marco Flexen opener starter kind of?
I don't know. I don't necessarily like it. Out of the two, I would keep Flexen over Marco, but as you said, no one wants Marco right now. He doesn't have the stuff to be a bullpen pitcher. I mean,
And he starts too slow.
yeah, he starts slow. He throws
So-
too slow to come out of the bullpen.
What do you think the odds are that we see it happen? That Marco and Flexen pitch in the same inning this season?
In the same game.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah. Not the same inning. Jesus Christ. The same game. Yeah.
Well, if they pitch in the same inning, we're down pretty bad.
Yeah, we're already down bad.
we're
Yeah,
Might as
we're-
well get the position players.
Yeah.
we're eliminated already if they pitch in the same inning.
Yeah, no, same game. Same game.
But yeah, no, that's a situation I would not want to see. Marco and Flexen in the same game. I mean, we have to have like an established 5th starter.
Also, I was going to say, like, I would love Flexen to be our 5th starter, but also there is added benefit of having that long reliever in the pen. So let's say, a freak injury happens, something, or, the starting pitcher just doesn't have it that day. It's not clicking. He has to get pulled in the 2nd or 3rd inning. You can have Flexen then
time.
come and throw 5 or 6 innings. And that, at least just one long reliever guy in the bullpen is good to have.
I think that's extremely valuable to have.
Oh, yeah.
Not just good to have. I think that's a difference maker. So, I don't know. I give it a 8 to 10% chance that we see Marco and Flexen in the same game.
You don't think there's any team in the league that would take Marco?
No.
Fuck, man.
He
Who?
doesn't have
Name
the
one.
value. He did
Then why the fuck are we keeping him?
They see what we see.
He's
What
been
can we
here
get?
forever.
What can we
Okay,
get for
He's
him?
a warm body who can sometimes pitch.
Okay,
left-handed.
warm body is used as stopgap when we're like falling apart.
More
like,
than
we're looking
anything.
for like
Yeah.
our 5th starter. Like
That's what I'm saying.
can't
That's why I would
find
rather have
nobody,
Flexen.
like- I think we're putting a lot of emphasis on Marco just being that guy that like filled that gap after Felix, and he's just like this guy that we really liked. Like, holy shit, like this is the guy that like filled into Felix's shoes, and like we love him and we have feelings for him. But he's very clearly the last like 2 years has not been good. Like, I don't know why he's still here. Like, I like Marco. I don't have any problems with him as a person. I think he fucking sucks as a pitcher.
I agree.
We just get rid of him. Like, just eat whatever we have left on his
You can't
contract.
just get rid of him. It's not like
Yeah.
what do you do? DFA Marco? No.
Why not?
Can you trade Marco? No.
We can't trade him. Like, is there a thing with his DFA?
There is. There are rules and contracts and stuff, and like, there also baseball has like team like a 10-5 rule. Although I don't think he would qualify for that. but baseball actually has like an interesting rule. It's called the 10-5. If you've been in the league 10 years and 5 years with the same team, you can veto trades like naturally. It doesn't even have to be like a contract stipulation.
New 10-5. If you give up 10 runs in 5 games, you can get DFA'd.
All right.
I like that rule.
So let me just say, we're not going to be DFAing Marco.
Right.
If we will trade him for nothing if we have to. We're not going to DFA him. When you DFA a player, you still pay their salary to not play for you.
Okay,
But
well,
someone
let me
pick him up. So what a
Mets.
the whole
They have
point
money.
I'm trying to get at is like our 5th starter spot might be shaky, but we have a solid 4 stack on top of that.
Extremely solid.
How long in our baseball history of the Mariners have we had 4 solid starters on top of 1 Marco? You know what I mean? Marco, like I said earlier, Marco's the last of the old guard of the Kyle Seager, the Mitch Haniger. Now Marco's the last guy,
I was
and
gonna
we're
say
on
the
our last
exact
straw.
same thing.
He's on his he's on his downswing, his backswing of his career. Like, he's not good. He's not gonna be better. We're not going to expect better. It's just that everyone knows that's where he's at in his career. And the Mariners will make a move to bolster that spot. It's just that, like, we have a 4 stack of starters on top of that. We're good. Like, that 1 day out of 5 is going to be shaky. But, like, we expect so much out of our 4 starters before we get to the 5th starter. And sometimes we can skip that on a day off. Like, go back to the top, you know? Like, we don't always need that 5th starter. But, like, I'm just happy we have such a solid 4 that 5 doesn't bother me as much.
Here are my thoughts. Every game matters. If Marco had won like 10 more games than he had lost, we would have, I don't know if we would have been ahead of the Astros. We would have been pretty damn close. But just in, okay. But you understand the sentiment I'm trying to make. Marco's contract, from what I remember from last year, is like he's on a pretty cheap contract, right? He is not getting paid like any exorbitant amount of money.
Right.
DFA him, pay that contract. Who gives a fuck? We're paying that contract. It's like $4 million, $5 million. It's not a lot. And then just fucking find somebody better.
The only point of having Marco is that he's left-handed.
But
in our
I
less than
I
left-handed
understand that,
pitching,
but like
that's
he's
the only
so,
thing that's keeping him here.
Yeah, but he's just not even.
But what do you say? What do you do? Like,
Keeping-
no one's
no,
willing
no,
to
no,
make
no, no.
the move. Like,
Keeping
what do you do?
Let me tell you, like keeping a left-hander, like just because he's left-handed, is like implying that he has some sort of advantage over hitters, and it's very okay. He maybe has an inherent advantage that he's left-handed, but it doesn't fucking work because he gives up 2 or 3 runs every fucking.
Yeah, we know, Owen. We know. It's
Matt.
just harder to get rid of the guy and
I'm
get
just
someone better
saying.
than you think, I think. Like,
Okay.
we have guys coming up like Emerson Hancock, like, who's the other guy? Bryce
Miller.
Miller. We have Prelander Baroa. We have dudes that are going to come up and fill that role when the time comes. It's
Okay,
just
but-
that, like, we can't make an exorbitant move. No one wants to give us anything valuable from Marco.
No.
We're
Just
going to get someone
put
worse,
Flexen
dude.
in there, bro. Like you think that Marco's inherent left-handed advantage is better than the fact that Flexen can get to the 4th inning without
like,
giving
correct.
up
Oh, actually,
like I
hold-
said,
that's a good
depending on the
fucking point,
lineup
Owen.
I
we're
do like
playing.
that point, though.
Owen, great take. Thank you.
I agree a lot with what Matt is saying on this, 100%. But that is an interesting point of, is the left-handedness more valuable than Flexen being able to slightly go deeper in the games?
And
that I do like that.
Even for me, it's pretty 60-40. Like, I'm not like
The
leaning
60-40
one
in
way.
Marco's
I
favor?
just think there
It
is.
sounds like you're leaning
Yeah.
one way.
Yeah, I would lean Marco's way because we don't have any left-handers. It's nice to have a lefty when you're facing a lefty-heavy lineup. Like, there is a slight advantage regardless of how bad Marco is. Like, there is a slight advantage naturally. It's kind of like, I guess that's one of the things that may be changing in the game with statistics. Like, we keep a fully right-handed bullpen because we have righties effective against lefties. And that's becoming more possible in this game where we can make pitches on a computer and, like, throw them. So what I'm saying is right now we're kind of at that point where we have guys coming up. We can't really make a move because Marco's not that valuable, and the lefty in our rotation is more valuable because we don't have lefties in our pen. And like, that's the only reason Marco should start a game.
No,
How
I'm
good
sorry.
of a
I
reason
disagree.
is that?
I'm
That's
gonna
one,
go.
the only reason. I'm putting it in a
No.
very narrow corner here.
can't
I am
quantify
basically
like a-
agreeing with you guys.
I'm
No,
gonna
I
go
know, I
in.
know. But we gotta say, you're a lefty.
Yeah.
You pitch lefty.
Oh, he's got that
biased.
biased.
Okay.
Yeah, you have the left.
Okay.
You
You're
got
right.
the left.
You
hand
got me,
bias.
guys. I'm no more arguments from the lefty.
Matt, I'm going to go
Matt
back.
Korsmo, bats right, throws left, loves Marco.
I'm going to go back through all of Marco's starts the last 2 years and just like statistically quantify all of his shit, like versus right-handed versus left-handed, to see if there's actual lefty advantage. And if there's not, I'm coming back next week swinging.
All right, let's talk about it this week in the chat, bro. Let's go.
I'm going to do it. I'm really good at Excel.
Now, this should be fun. I like the whole conversation we have about Marco Gonzalez whenever he comes up. He's a hot topic on our podcast.
It's always fun. Yeah.
It is
and
always fun.
it's because we want to love and hate him. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I wish he
I
was
don't
better.
want to hate him.
Yeah, I know.
I would love to love
That's what
Marco.
I'm saying.
I just
Yes.
don't.
It's a love-hate relationship here, so we talk about him a lot. And man, we'll see. We'll fucking see.
We'll see. Also, I really agree with Matt's sentiment of we have 4 dominant starters. If the worst thing in your rotation is that your 5th starter is kind of shaky, like that's fine.
It's honestly not a big
Yeah.
problem to have. Yeah, no, I agree with that. But I also agree with Owen that what's more valuable, a shitty left-hander or
Okay.
a
You want to go? Okay, let me.
a right-handed pitcher who gets it
Big
done.
predictions for the end of the year to end the pod after this whole thing?
Maybe we save
No,
our
wait.
predictions for next week.
Okay.
The
Next week
games
is the
matter more
prediction
now
week.
because the Astros can't beat the shit out of the West. So they're being playing like real teams. So games matter significantly more now. So like having a 5th starter, like, you know, if 1, 2, and 3 lose their games, it's like it's really important for that 5th starter to get a dub.
I agree, man. With the balanced schedule and with the way that the Mariners took off in the second half last year, like if we can compete from the beginning, we're going to be in the same boat as the Astros are. The Rangers got better. The Angels got better. But like we don't play
A's are
them
the
as
A's.
much with the schedule adjustment. But at the same time, like the Mariners are still better than the Rangers and the Angels.
Yes.
I can guarantee that they're going to be at least half the games closer to the Astros all season. Because last year we ended up being like 15 plus games behind the Astros, you know? And this year, I think from the get-go, we're going to be competing a lot more and be within 10 games all season, you know what I mean? Where we have a hot week and we're there. Like, we're there. The Astros are still really, really good. But the Mariners have taken a step forward, in my opinion, offensively especially, health-wise, secondarily, and I'm excited to see what the Mariners can do in the West and see how well they can keep up with the Houston Astros.
That 15-game buffer, like the Mariners played the Astros like shit last year. I think they lost like
In the year before.
No,
and
the year before, I don't think they beat them maybe once or not at all in the
bad.
whole season. They were like 1-18 or literally 0-19 against the Astros 2 years ago.
Well, I think last year they didn't. They definitely did not have 50% of wins against them. I don't think.
probably-
I
yeah,
think
they
it was
didn't
pretty low.
have-
Like
But I mean, to go from even 40% from 0% is a nice boost. Because 2 years ago, oh my god, they didn't beat the Astros once, which was crazy. The Mariners are a better team, and honestly, we've been talking this we had so much stuff to say. It was our first one of the season. We want to thank you guys all for listening and for joining us for another year. And there's next episode we'll probably talk more about our upcoming hopes and thoughts and of the season, predictions, hot takes. Definitely have more stuff to say, but we'll cut this one short. We've already been running it pretty long.
Yeah, we'll definitely be able to expand on all of our ideas throughout the spring training. It's spring training for us as well. So welcome back to you guys, our listeners, and us. Please like and subscribe to our video if you can. That'd
If
be
you're
amazing.
on YouTube, give it a like. If you're on Spotify, click the little heart button. We also have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, so follow us there as well.
Yeah, and we're going to have the most informed listeners in all the land. Thank you guys so much for joining us. We could not be more excited for an amazing season.
Hell yeah.
Like, it's going to be great. The Mariners have done nothing but improve.
This is
and
the Mariners' first full season of podcasting. We're back.
It's the Sogcast full season podcast.
Yes.
But we are so excited. Thank you guys so much for listening to us, and we can't wait to share more with you next week. We love you all. Thanks for listening, and go!